Hey, how's it going? I recently made the King's Woodworking YouTube channel. They have a table, they offer plans. I bought the plans and I made this end table. And if you stick around, I'll show you how it went for me. My thoughts on it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Stick around. Here we are, kids. Welcome back. I mean that. I'm sincere about that. What I'm working on is the King's Fine Woodworking little end table. I made a few cuts. I'm going to make one more on the legs. I'm just getting started on this, and I thought I'd film it. Uh, First off, first thing out of the gate, I got to say, I'm not thrilled about the plans. It's 38 pages of gray ink. You're printing gray ink on even the blank pages are full of gray. It's a waste of ink. It should be considered in the PDFs that are being created, in my opinion. And there's like one page with one picture and one. There's so little information on this one page, and then there's some pages with one image, and then next page one image. Here's the next page, one small piece with a little description. I think they could have laid this out a little better. And I don't hate people. I don't hate these people. I bought the plan, so that's a thing. But the plan was like a coffee table, I believe, and then also an end table. And I only printed some pertinent information from the end table, 38 pages. I printed uh, 12 or so pages for the end table. Anyway, it is what it is. I printed it in black and white, rough draft, quick draft, so I didn't waste so much ink. And anyway, they do have some information, and everyone ties their shoes differently. Everyone walks down the road differently, and their layout of a plan is different than mine. Um, I saw some. I've bought a number of plans, and I've seen some that I really thought, well, that's very professional, and I've seen others that are like, oh, that's okay. I guess I bought it. Now I know. So the plans that I make, I try to make them leaning toward the more professional side. It was a lot extra work, but in my opinion, if you're buying plans of something, you need the information. You need the detailed steps. What's next? What do I get now? Um, and and what's a description and some drawings. So anyway, enough of that. So I cut these to length on a particular bevel, and now I need to rip a taper on them. And I had a tapering jig that dedicated to one particular function. Let me show you how I went about it without making a whole new jig. Um, this edge is the cut line. I've got a slides in the groove right there. So, and I know right here is a particular dimension that's on the plan, and this is 3.5. So I'm going to slide this over until this edge is on the cut line, and slide that over until this edge is on that pencil mark, and kind of get it to where all those points meet. And there, that looks good. This one clamp fits very well, gives good pressure right here. Without putting more structure in here to move one of these clamps over, here's what I decided to do. A smaller piece, I lay it on top of that raised area, I bring it up against here, and then with this clamp, put a little pressure, and that kind of holds everything in place. So let's make that cut. Again, you see my whatever you call slides in the guide rail thing. Here we go. Here's another thing. On about it might be every page or every other page, they have a comment saying you should watch the video. And I understand that, but I haven't watched the video. I've seen one of the videos on one of the tables, and I've seen like 10% of the video, but I think I could figure this out. So here's my taper from 3.5 to 2. It's on a particular miter up here, and that step is down. I'm going to move on to the next step. This is the top view of the leg. They put a chamfer on the leg. I don't want to put a chamfer, so I'll skip that for now. So page 25. It's just 45 degrees and a length. Okay, I could do that. If we're doing bevels, I need my dust catcher 2000. Perfect. And if we're doing bevels, 45-degree bevels, I'm going to do the first one at 45.5. Whatever that is, I'm going to set my stop block. Even if I'm off a little, we're going to make them all the same. Right about there. The next step is to make it's a 2x4, 24 inches long on a 45-degree miter, and it's going to be ripped down to 2.5. I'll show you the way I like to do it. Instead of just chopping them at 45, here's how I like to do it. Based on my experience, I got my stop block set at 24, and I'm going to cut 4 boards at 24. The reason I like to do this, now I can look at it and find what's the best position for this board. What's the best in or out? I think this is the better face of the two faces, and I'm gonna say we cut it. Instead of making that determination now, let's cut it to 2.5 inches first, and then we'll find the better of everything. 2.5 inch. Bring the blade down to a safe height, and then here's where I look at it again. I'm going to cut off the worst side, and I think these knots on the ends are the worst side. Now I have 24-inch by the 2.5 rip. Two of them, even after the miters, two of them will have a dado down the middle to receive uh, the surface, and then two of them will not have a dado. So now I look at the better faces. Here's another thing. I'm going to run everything through the jointer. It's going to make everything better. We'll do it live. Keep the cameras rolling. We're doing it live. Okay. Here's what I'm doing. I'm doing one pass where I had to cut to hide the saw marks. I'm doing 2 passes from the factory edge because it's got this round over. And then I'll do one on the face. And look at this face. That turned out pretty nice. It's a tiny bit ripply, but it'll stand out. And whether it's an inside or an outside, they look pretty decent. And when I do this, I'm just going to put my shadow line on the crisp edge of that cut, although there's enough sun to interfere. Okay, now we'll see what's next on the list. Okay, as mentioned previously, 2 of these need a dado ripped down the middle, and it's 3/4 of an inch tall or deep. And I'm just going to do it with my blade 1/2 inch wide. Instead of getting my dado for just these two, I don't think I need all that. I'll take a 1/2 inch out. There should be a 1/2 inch remaining, should there not? So I'll set it at 9/16. Let's see how that goes. There. What's next? 28. 3/8 by 1/2 inch by 3/4. Be 24. 3/8 by 1/2 inch. Okay. What do we have? I have these. These would be great. 3/8 by 1/2 inch. Clamp forward together. Need 24, so I need 6 cuts of 4. Okay, I got everything cut for this table, but using the spacers as described in the plan, I came up. See, if I put that right on the edge, I don't want it right on the edge. I want that kind of space. Same space. It comes up short, like 3/4 of an inch short. So these are 3/8 of an inch on the money. So I'm going to have to recut shims that are spacers that are 5/16. I did the math on the overage versus the space. So, um, and then I was curious how he assembled everything, and so I went and looked at the video, and he kind of set it up like this, and kind of dropped them in. He used an epoxy, which I don't have, and I'm not using. I'm going to use Titebond 3 for the whole thing, and it may, even though it's a slower curing glue, it may it may be it may cure a little too quickly for me, but I'm gonna try to work quickly. So right now I'm gonna cut new spacers and do my routing, and then get this assembled. And while this is clamped and drying, I've got other things. I'll think about it. Okay, here we are, folks. The big glue up. I've got this little needly thing to help control these as needed. I went ahead and dug some domino holes, mortises, into the ends of all 4 of these while I still have a chance. I don't want to have a piece in here and that interfere with the domino. I put an 1/8 inch round over on everything. Look at all that saw chatter, but you'll never see that. I couldn't get the 1/8 inch round over on this end, so I hit it with the sander, just the sanding block, this big, ugly, bulky sanding block, and was able to put a little, just ease the edge a little bit, so that when they come together, they're going to be sort of like that. I think that'll be all right. And in the video, he does talk about, if your cuts are imperfect, this is a good way to hide some of that imperfection. And I completely agree. That's a great point. Because I have right here, this slat is a little bit lower than this is. And at first I was thinking about passing this through the planer one more time, but no one's really going to know, honestly. And I'll hit it with the sander when I'm all done. But anyway, I was thinking about one of those screw clamps, but I think this will work even better. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna try to get a bead along the face of everything. I might even tilt that a little. And I already have these. I staged them in a way that I think the pattern looks presentable. So I need those space on this end first. This might be a little part. Was my math good? My math was pretty decent. See, look at that. That's pretty decent. The space here to the short point of the miter is pretty decent. So let me spin this around. That looks decent, right? Now we just need to somehow try to do that again on the other side. How do I have to do like that? Kind of like that. And do like that. And do like that. This might just work. Draw everything together. Okay. I wonder if I could slip these in. I think I have to try before the glue gets too set up. So if I put that in there, I have to spread this out. I finally got that sucker. That was a mess. You can't see with that shadow. You can't see with a lot of these shadows. And I can't turn it much. But I did get the outside corners good, the joints good, the spacing throughout is good. It was just a mess, but I got it. You see that joint is pretty good. They're all pretty good. It was just a mess. I'll revisit that before I do it again. I still like the look of it though. It's a nice look. There's just got to be a better way. So now we have the, the, the base to assemble. And on the outside of the legs, I put like a 3/8 round over and a 3/16 round over on the inside and at the bottom. That's going to go like that, and that's going to go like that, glued and screwed. Kind of like that. No, good.